would you get mad after you apologizing for something that you did wrong? What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's your girl Jada here, back with another video. And yes, you are catching me in rare form today. This is a rare sighting, okay? Me in my bonnet on camera, but there is a reason. Today I have a really long filming schedule, a very long day of videos. So I was like, I don't want to waste any more time. I decided I'm just going to make this particular video a get ready with me. We're just going to be getting ready for me to shoot more content, basically. But this is content in itself, so yeah, we're just gonna get right into it. But as you can tell by the title, we are going to be talking about a married at first sight couple, and I decided to just focus on the couple this time. Well, actually last time I did as well, when I was talking about Paige and that other guy that I can't remember the name of, but y'all can check it out here. So today we're going to be talking about Brandon and Taylor. They are from season 10. I'm surprised that I haven't really seen that many videos on them yet. Like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if people just haven't felt the need to, or maybe haven't seen that season. I don't know. But that season was hella weird, and it was mainly because of these two and also another couple, but I'll probably talk about them a little later on. But we're mainly going to be focusing on Brandon and Taylor. So let's just hop right into it. I'm going to start with my hair first though, because ciao. Pretty sure someone's probably gonna screenshot this and be like, this you? Yes, this is me. Rare form, okay? Rare form. I've had my hair in this like dookie braid for a hot minute, okay? I need to wash it. It's been like at least 2 weeks. Everything that I'm going to be using product wise is going to be in my Benable account list, if that makes sense. If you guys don't know or aren't familiar about Benable, it's basically this place where people share or recommend products, kind of similar to like an Amazon list or store of sorts, Pinteresty, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna put that link in my description for you guys to check out. I'm definitely probably gonna need to moisturize and maybe gel it down, because I'm just gonna be doing a slick back bun today. Brandon and Taylor, okay, so they are from season 10. This is 2021, so this was now 2 years ago, I think. It started out great. Literally their wedding day, it wasn't amazing, it wasn't bad, it was a little awkward, but it was okay, you know what I mean? Much like the other couples that I've seen from the Married at First Sight show, it wasn't really that bad compared to other people's meetings where they literally have like moments where they break down inside because they're really not attracted to their partner. But with these two, the attraction wasn't the problem. Them talking to each other in the beginning seemed to be the only issue, because it was a little weird, because again, they didn't know each other, okay? So if you guys obviously watch Married at First Sight, you know the premise is you marry a stranger basically, and at the end of like a month or so, you come to the, I want to say counselors, but basically the professionals when it comes to matchmaking. You come to them and you pretty much declare whether you're going to be divorcing or staying in the marriage with this person that, you know, they set you up with. So I remember when they were at the altar, they, you know, saw each other. They were okay with how each other looked. And when it came to what the family was saying about each other, it sounded as though they were going to be compatible. You know what I mean? It sounded as though they were going to make things work personality wise, okay? On paper they were looking good, all right, but let's move past that, right? So Brandon, I'm not gonna lie, he was very awkward. You could tell Taylor after the wedding, she was trying her darndest to get something out of him communication wise, you know, like she was trying her best to ask him questions about who he was, what his job was, what he was interested in, hobbies, all that type of stuff, but it was like pulling teeth. And she even said that in one of her interviews. She was like, it was really awkward and a little painful to get answers out of him, but once you ask him the right questions, he would start to open up a little bit more. But it was really awkward. But you could tell they liked each other in terms of attraction. Like the physical aspect seemed to not be a problem at all compared to other couples, okay? So that was not the issue, but the communication just seemed from the beginning a little strained. So they get to the honeymoon. Hey, ciao. This is where things go downhill. And that's honestly the craziest part to me. Because it's like, usually the honeymoon part of your relationship or marriage, the beginning is supposed to be the easiest part. You know what I mean? But I guess because they don't know each other again, that might be the reason as to why they're not really getting along from the beginning. So I remember there was one day where I think Brandon was sleeping and Taylor, she's very into social media. We picked that up very early, okay? She's filming him and without him knowing, and he wakes up with a camera, a phone anyway, the camera on the phone in his face. And she's just like, I'm just filming you because, you know, you're my new husband and you looked all peaceful. And he has this visceral reaction. He doesn't talk to her, nothing. And I was like, wow, this is childish. Like, even though you feel a ways about someone posting you or filming you without your consent, if it's just you sleeping, you know, I'm pretty sure you could kind of tell your wife, because she's your wife, I think you should kind of communicate with her, hey, I'm uncomfortable with this, as soon as it happens. I don't know why you had to go on this weird tangent. Not even a tangent, because he didn't say anything. The entire day, this man goes without talking to Taylor, and Taylor is trying to figure out for the life of her what she did wrong. She, you know, kind of pieces together that obviously the filming kind of made him a little upset. And I was like, even if that's the case, tell her that. Don't just walk away and try to avoid her for the entire day and don't talk to her. That ish is weird. It gets even weirder after this, you guys. It gets even weirder. This man is so strange. Like, honestly, I should have known from their wedding day that he was gonna be strange, but I didn't know to what extent. But let's continue. The entire day, this man goes without talking to Taylor and explaining to her that he was uncomfortable with her filming him while he was sleeping, right? Taylor, I'm happy that she managed to not share too much of her information, at least at the time, about her and Brandon's issues with the other couples that were also on honeymoon with them. I think it was best for her to obviously just talk that out with him and not share too much, because once you share too much with other people and outside individuals outside of your marriage and relationship is when things start to get really messy. So I'm happy that she didn't say too much at that time, but I think shortly after that, either on that same day, like around nighttime-ish, Brandon, I think, had set up like a date to basically talk to Taylor, apologize. But the thing is, when he apologizes, she's trying to explain to him why what he did was so weird. You know what I mean? It's really weird, and that's not how you tackle issues in your marriage. You have to communicate. Even if it's hard for you, you really have to try. Don't just wait a whole day after not talking to me and then come and be like, hey, I'm sorry, let's move on. And then just expect her to move on, because that's weird. And then he started getting upset. Y'all, how could you get mad after you apologizing for something that you did wrong? Don't get me wrong, obviously what she did, yes, okay, it made you uncomfortable. Okay, fine. Tell her that though. The fact that you avoided her for an entire day is really childish, number one. Obviously, the maturity level was very lacking. Communication skills, not even there. He avoided her. I'm just saying, it was just like, again, downhill. Okay? After this is when we start seeing some absolute craziness. Things that I have not seen on a reality show before, just ever, really. I was gonna say in a while, but just ever. Obviously, when you're on a reality TV show, you're supposed to sign paperwork, you know, you release things, you don't share certain things before they tell you to, yada yada, right? You sign a contract. So tell me why Brandon, after him and Taylor seem to reconcile and they're sort of good, but of course Taylor's still giving him the side eye, you know what I mean? Tell me why Brandon starts getting snippy with production. Okay, obviously the crew has to follow them around. They had to film them because it's a reality TV show. Where you go, we go. That's how that works. That's what you signed up for. So it was really weird when he started saying to production and the crew, like, hey, I don't want you to follow me. He went into the elevator in the hotel and he started, like, you know, pushing the camera away, and it was like, hey, don't do that, like, don't touch the camera because this is expensive, we don't want you to break it, that type of way, right? And this man's just like, no, you're not gonna follow me. And the crew's just trying to explain to him, like, hey, we're just trying to do our job. We're not trying to cause you any unnecessary stress, but this is what you ultimately signed up for, which is true. So it was really strange that he just started getting really like anxious and antsy, didn't want to film, had issues when people filmed him, mic'd him up. He'd be super quick to yank off his mic, really expensive equipment, mind you. And it's just like, what is happening? Even Taylor was like, I didn't sign up for this type of behavior. Like, not only was she experiencing weird things in their relationship, but it was also towards the people that were just trying to do their job. So it was like, what's happening? Like I said already, the honeymoon is supposed to be the easiest time. It ended up being kind of like the foreshadowing into something even crazier. The snowballing effect, it moved on really fast. That's all I gotta say. They make it out of the honeymoon stage. They're trying, underline trying, put emphasis on the trying to live together in peace. They're trying to live with each other, much like the other couples. They start having issues pretty early on yet again. One thing that keeps popping up, I notice, is of course Taylor's usage of social media, which, you know, obviously from the jump, you could tell already based on how he reacted in the honeymoon that Brandon is not a fan. Okay, he seems to be a very private person. You can't find him on any social media platforms. He is like a ghost. I don't know if this happened shortly after the season aired, because like I said, this came out in 2021 and I just watched it a couple weeks ago. I don't know if after it aired, he was like, I don't want to look bad, so I'm just going to delete everything, or if he never had socials to begin with, but he basically doesn't exist on the internet besides on the Married at First Sight show, okay? He, you know, didn't really care for how much Taylor posted. Also, when it came to him, she also wanted to post him a lot. And he was like, well, why can't you just live in the moment? I was like, I understand, but the thing is, it's kind of hard to just not do that when you are so used to doing it. Because I know being a content creator, it could get really annoying for other people, family and friends that are around you that aren't used to you being around them, videoing, well, I'm gonna say videoing, filming them, vlogging, that type of thing. That's why when I vlog, I try to, you know, make sure I ask people like, hey, are you comfortable with this? Are you okay with being in this shot? Obviously, if it's just random people in the background, I could care less. But if it's somebody that I know and that I hang out with a lot, I want to make sure that they're okay with me putting them in my content. I think that with Brandon and Taylor just couldn't really fathom the idea of that. I think she was just so used to sharing so much of her life that there wasn't really any boundaries set for her in her mind. And that, I think, was ultimately the problem that Brandon had. So I was kind of with Brandon on that, because I think watching Taylor, almost everything that she did had to be posted. And that ended up being a even bigger problem because of something that she posted later on. And we're going to talk about that shortly. The first incident, I think, like I said, this is a few weeks ago that I watched this season, but I think I remember Taylor making a dinner for Brandon. It was like salmon or chicken or something, I don't know, but it looked good. I was like, oh, girl could cook, okay. So I was proud of Taylor, right? She's cooking, and then she gets to the table with her food after serving him, and she's taking pictures, you know, doing little video clips of her food because she's proud of herself, you know. And because I have a food page or a food blog, I'm used to doing that too. All right, so my family already know Instagram eats first. I'm just kidding. It's really not that serious. If we've had it numerous times and it's not really that unique, then I don't really post it. But if it's something that's really interesting, because we don't really go out that often, I would like to post about it. Also, if you guys would like to follow my food page, I'll insert it here. Ting! But anyways, yeah, because I have that, again, I could relate to Taylor on that front because I'm used to just snapping away. But Brandon was like, can you just, again, live in the moment? I'm so tired of you taking pictures. Like, just be here with me. Talk to me. Like, you know what I mean? Of course, Taylor, she gets a little snippy with him. You know what I mean? I don't remember verbatim what she said, But she gets snippy and Brandon's just like turned off immediately. I think he ended up leaving that night for the first time. I'm not entirely sure, but he was very quick to leave every time they had a little spat or a disagreement or argument. And I'm like, I can't stand people like that, because it's like, what's gonna happen when things really hit the fan and when I really need you? We really need to work major problems out. Social media, I think, is not that big of a deal unless it's something that's like really, really bothering you and has been bothering you for a while. They had only been together for like, what, a week or two at this point? And I was like, really? I get really irritated when I see things like that, because it's just kind of like, you can't run off every time there's a problem, because then you never get anything solved. And I think obviously people do that sometimes to kind of cool off because they don't want to do or say anything that would really get them into some hot water, you know? But the thing is, it's like, you can't do that every single time there's a problem. And that's what Brandon did. And oh my God, it was so irritating, because it was like, geez, my guy, how were you in relationships prior to this? Like, how? Were you? That's the better question. Were you in relationships prior to this? That was a little blow up. And when I say little, emphasis on the little, because there was some bigger blow ups, okay? Trust, it's coming. I'm trying to remember what exactly happened first, but you know, we're just gonna dive right in. I don't even care the order, okay? What was the smallest to the biggest blow up? I'm gonna do it in that order, you know, because the ending is crazy, okay, honey? It is crazy. Remember how I said there was an issue with the social media thing? So like I said already, it gets even worse because, again, Taylor didn't seem to have a boundary set with, ooh, dusty. Taylor didn't seem to have a boundary set with what she would post versus what she would keep to herself. She kept sharing literally everything about herself. And I gotta be honest, people like that I stay away from. So that's why I was kind of in the middle this entire relationship, because it was like, I understand Taylor struggles with Brandon. I also understand Brandon struggles with Taylor. You know what I mean? And this is one of those struggles where I'm just like, ooh, yeah, I kind of have to agree with him on this one. Taylor, she makes this little video clip, posts it on Instagram, and I don't think she followed, because like I said, Brandon doesn't have any social media, I don't think. At least I wasn't able to find anything. So she thought, you know, because Brandon doesn't follow her, because she doesn't have anyone on her page that's like directly linked to him, she thought that she was gonna be okay, that she wouldn't have to worry about him seeing what she was about to post. So she's outside, she's on this little mini rant about her frustrations with, you know, relationships and men. And I was like, oh Lord, where is this going? She basically says, I don't understand why it's so difficult to find a man that is 6 feet tall, doesn't have a criminal record, is able to communicate, all these other things. And I can't remember exactly what she said, but those were the two things, like 6 feet tall and doesn't have a criminal record. That's mostly what I remembered. And obviously she is married to Brandon at this point that she's filming this. So it's like, what are you trying to say? Are you trying to kind of indirectly say that Brandon is not what you wanted? I think Brandon was actually 6 foot. He looked pretty tall. He was skinny, but he was tall. But Taylor was pretty tall too, so I don't know. Anyways, he seemed to meet her expectations on the wedding day. But the fact that she went on this tangent again, it didn't look good. And then it ended up getting back to Brandon. He saw the video, and that's when he ultimately decided to leave the house. Like, he left his key, everything on the table. He packed up everything. He was gone, honey. So Taylor, you know, she's just like really in a state of, you know what, like, I'm low-key kind of done with this dude. But at this time, I don't think she knew that Brandon saw the video. So she was really confused as to what she did, like genuinely confused as to what she did. I think it was another couple that actually saw the video. The wife had ended up talking to Taylor about it, and that's how Taylor found out, like, oh, it was the video. But then in that same moment, she was like, I still don't think I did anything wrong. And I was like, girl, how? She was defending this to the death. Like, this was gonna be the hill that she died on. It was really dumb. I'm not gonna lie, it was so dumb. I'm like, how do you be in a whole marriage making a video like that and think that that's okay to say? It makes your partner look bad. That video ended up being kind of like the death of their relationship. There was some other things that really kind of snowballed into it, but I really think that was kind of like a, I think I'm really side-eyeing you right now. But Brandon, like I said, he had completely moved out. They didn't see each other again until I think like a week later when they went to talk to one of the matchmakers for some counseling. And yeah, it was like, oh no. Brandon is kind of like a terrible communicator most of the time. But I think in this meeting, this particular meeting where he specifically told Taylor like what the problem was and she was still not having it, she was not apologizing, none of that. In that moment, I was like, okay, he's not usually the best communicator, but right now, I think in this session he did his best, and I don't think that Taylor was in the right at all in that one. Yes, you should be able to post whatever you want. However, you should know in your mind what is probably going to be a line in the sand, like what boundaries you should set. So that's why I always have issues being around people and they just post things about their relationships and stuff like that. I kind of stay away from them. Even if it's like subliminal stuff, I'm just like, yeah, no. I think you should talk about that behind the scenes. Keep that off the internet. Okay? After that session, they kind of ended up not really talking to each other or communicating for a hot minute. But that's when, you know, we started having issues again with Brandon. They couldn't really, you know, get him to film. He had constant blow-ups with production. And over time, I think they just decided to just leave him alone. But I think after that is when Brandon decided to kind of meet up with Taylor yet again, because she decided to apologize finally. However, she decides to do it in the pettiest way possible. Taylor's getting her nails done. Brandon comes in to meet up with her. And she's just like, hey, I have something for you. And it's a card. In the card, she basically apologizes for making him feel a ways for the video that she posted, right? And I was like, girl, if you're gonna have this man wait this long for an apology, the least you could do is say it to him verbally and not write it in a letter with him present. I think they're both really, really childish when it comes to communication. Brandon just kind of walks away, but we find out that they do decide to continue seeing each other, but without all the cameras, because again, Brandon is a little bit more than camera shy. He just is very blatantly does not like them being around filming anything. Taylor agrees, you know, that she's seeing him in private. They're meeting, they're watching movies together. You could see it kind of on their camera that's in the apartment that they're staying in. And it looks as though they were good. But again, you couldn't really catch it on actual camera. You don't know what they were saying to each other. You don't know if the communication was still crap. Like, you don't know nothing. Shortly after all of that went down, it seems as though they were on a good note. Taylor had ended up going on a girls trip, well, not girls trip, girls night out, basically. She went out with her friends. I think she had told Brandon that she was gonna be going out. However, I don't think she told Brandon how long. She ends up kind of staying out all night. She wakes up and she's just like, hey, I'm in a hotel room. I ended up staying over with my friend in a hotel room because I lost track of time. And it was like, girl, what? Brandon again is pissed because he's just like, that don't sound right. So the couples at the end of each season, they do, well, at least close to the end of each season anyway, right before a decision day, they go on this trip. They try to obviously either rekindle things or make their relationship stronger or really just come to a full stop altogether. Basically, they're at this house in the middle of nowhere. They're forced to talk to each other because there's like no cell service. And oh Lord, it escalates, honey. It escalates. Brandon again does not want to talk to Taylor at all. She's trying to talk to other women's in the house, their husbands, because, you know, obviously her husband ain't talking to her, ain't checking for her. He's trying to figure out how he could leave. Like, he's ready to pack up and go, honey. It literally was just, oh my God. I'm gonna continue, but it's such a hot mess. So they end up escalating into a fight because Taylor's trying to stop him from leaving. And he's just like, don't put your hands on me. Like, I'm ready to go. And he's hella irritated. Like, there is no way I would have put myself in that situation. If that was my friend, I would tell a girl, let him go. Don't ever put yourself in that type of predicament where you could be physically harmed. If he wants to go, let him leave, honey. You cannot hold that man against his will. So he's trying to leave in the middle of the night, but production is just like, hey, that's not gonna happen. So he ends up coordinating with another husband in the house, I think, that just kind of tells him, hey, I have a funeral that I need to go to, at least plan anyway, so you could just come with me. But he was gonna be leaving with the production crew in their van. And again, Brandon, he has another serious blow up. Okay, like he's taunting the cameraman. You know, he's just like, I'm ready to go. Who are you? You know what I mean? You can't tell me what to do. I'm like, what is happening? He's just in the guy's face like, what you gonna do? What you gonna do, huh? Huh? It was so childish. I was like, is this really happening? I've never seen that on that show before. Other ratchet reality TV shows, yes, I've seen that 1,000 times. But for Married at First Sight, I was like, what the hell is going on? I'm not used to this level of ratchetness on this show. So yeah, that was an interesting change of pace. But we end up seeing, obviously, he takes off his mic and he packs up his stuff. I'm not entirely sure if he ended up leaving that night and coming back so he could catch the ride with the other husband, but I don't know. But either way, in the morning, he says nothing to nobody, okay? Everybody's ready for him to leave. The other couples are ready for him to just go. He just been causing so much drama. Him and Taylor really could go, but they were just satisfied with just Brandon leaving, really. He is making a huge issue about not speaking to production at all. And production is just like, hey, you're not leaving until you do this, this, and that. And he's just like, I'm not doing that. The childish person that Brandon was, he decides to not even talk to production and tell them that he's not gonna do what they said to do. He decides to communicate through the other husband, okay, that was trying to coordinate the ride. He doesn't even talk to anybody. He just talks to that one guy. And they're just like, he needs to get out the car because if he's not gonna follow our instructions, he needs to get out. So he's just like, you know what, I'm gonna go. And he starts walking down the road. He starts walking down the road in the middle of nowhere, y'all. I'm like, where are you going? Moving forward, we don't see Brandon anymore. I think he shows up to decision day. Of course, they both decide to say no to the relationship. Actually, I don't even think Brandon answered. I think Taylor was just like, yeah, I'm done. And then he walked off, ripping off again the really expensive mic. He's just like, yeah, I'm gone. You know what I mean? This is a waste of my time anyway. It was just too much, too much. And obviously the matchmakers were trying their hardest to get him to understand that his behavior was just too much. But at the same time, I think they needed to also really talk about Taylor being the issue as well in this situation, because they both were the problem. They both were the downfall of this marriage. But ultimately, they ended up walking their separate ways. They called off the marriage. Well, you can't really call off the marriage, but they decided to divorce. And, you know, I think in the reunion is when we get to see even more. Brandon, of course, does not show up. He ghosts again. So we only get to hear Taylor's side of what ended up transpiring after the show. But apparently Taylor had ended up seeing somebody else. And there was another confrontation that had transpired. She went to this club, I guess, and basically there was a little bit of a problem. Someone put their hands on somebody, and then there was a restraining order filed on both parts, for both parties, I believe. So yeah, this is not funny. Obviously the restraining order is, wow, you know what I mean? The fact that y'all have to get to that point, it's just like, really? They live in the same town, same city, but it's just like, really though? I don't understand why y'all gotta be this childish. It's just really sad. I don't know why anybody hasn't done any video on them yet, but it was so toxic on both sides. Taylor, for example, if you already see your husband has a problem with something that you're doing, I think you should try to fix it, unless it's something that's super unreasonable. But the fact that it was just a matter of you constantly posting things on social media, I don't think you should let social media run the rift in your relationship. And then on Brandon's end of things, first of all, he didn't even communicate really with Taylor like at all. Obviously there were a few issues, like he mentioned the social media thing, but besides that, he didn't really have much to say. He didn't really say anything. A good portion of their honeymoon, this man was just mad just to be mad. I'm like, you mad at Taylor? You mad at the production for doing their job? Like, what is happening? This is supposed to be the best and easiest time of your relationship. There was another black couple on the show with them. I can't remember their names, but I'll try to remember to put it on the screen. It was kind of weird too. The guy was really strange. He kept lying. Oh my god, he kept lying and gaslighting the hell out of this woman. Oh my god, it was so irritating. If y'all watched that season, y'all would see exactly what I mean. But it was so irritating how he kept saying things and then everything just wasn't matching up. It made no sense. I was like, my guy. Hold on one second, I'm gonna do my eyeliner. Okay, I'm back. But it was just so irritating. This man, like every 2 seconds, he had a new job. Like he was getting another job offer for another job. And then he was also lying about how much he was getting paid or gonna get paid. I was like, I can't. It was so irritating to me. So when I saw, you know, the wife, her blow up, I was like, yeah, I probably would have done left. You're a very patient person. A little too patient for me. But honestly, I think overall when it comes to Married at First Sight, them matchmakers, bruh, either they get it really right or absolutely terribly wrong. It's just like, oh my god, this is bad. And this was one of those couples. Both the couples that I just mentioned. Obviously the whole video about Brandon and Taylor, and then also the other couple. Brandon and Taylor, man, it was just such a crazy whirlwind of a story. That's why I had to sit down and talk about it over some makeup. Because it was like, huh? But anyways, obviously Taylor, she's been staying up to date on socials, but you know, with Brandon, again, ghost. Okay, have not seen this man since the Married at First Sight show. I am going to, you know, just quickly finish my makeup and then I'm going to come back on camera to end this video officially. Okay, so just give me one moment. I'm back, you guys, yet again to wrap this video up. I feel like this color isn't really doing much for my skin tone, but I was gonna do like a dark brown. I don't know. I'll see how I feel. Anyways, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. I know it was a little ranty here and there, but it's really because it was like, what the hell is going on? It was just so much where I was like, what? Okay, I have so many questions, but of course there's not going to be anyone there to answer them. So y'all let me know what y'all thought about this couple. If y'all saw season 10, if y'all like me to talk about other seasons or any particular couples from the seasons, let me know down below. But this show, honestly, every season there is some type of surprise. I would like to talk about, I think it was actually season 14 with Alyssa and, geez, I can't remember his name, but I remember the woman's name is Alyssa though. I think season 14, but that video is gonna be coming up soon. I was actually really supposed to be watching that season, but then I ended up watching season 10 because I saw another couple from another season. It was a lot. But anyways, y'all let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.